Hey girl, hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad that you all joined us today, this evening. But I'm so excited because today's guest is Miss Tasha Dorsey. Tasha and I have known each other for quite some time for when we lived abroad in the UAE. And let me tell you all, you are in for a treat because she has high energy, positivity, and you definitely will be blessed with everything that she has to share today. So, Tasha, I want to say thank you and welcome to the Hey Girl, Hey podcast today.
Hey girl, hey, how you doing? I'm so honored to be here as a part of your journey and just a small part of my journey and for us to just uplift other women, girls, and just people
Yes.
in general to let them know that their ladder can be and will be greater. I'm really
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yes. I just want to let everyone know that you are the mind behind Be Positive with Miss T. So I definitely want to start off. If you could just introduce Miss T. Who is she? What is Be Positive with Miss T? And then we'll get into it a little more.
So it's actually been, this is my 1 year anniversary of
Woo-hoo.
coming up with the idea of Be Positive with Miss T. So I've been a teacher for 27 plus years, and I knew my transition into something else, what I say, something even greater than even myself, was in the near future. And I really prayed about it. And one night God woke me up, and my blood type is B positive, so I would always say to my
Look at
husband,
that.
"Be positive." And
Yes.
so, one night I just woke up, and God gave me the idea of this woman. She kind of is like a little bee, and she's really upright and positive, and all of these things like that. So I wanted to wake up my husband so bad. This was about 3 o'clock in the morning, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna let him sleep. And I just started writing and writing things out, some ideas. And when he woke up in the morning, I said, okay, listen. I need you to listen to me. I've been up since like 3 o'clock in the morning. And he was like, okay, just like give me a minute. I said, no, no, no. I've let you sleep these last 3 hours, but I need to tell you. So I started telling him about P positive, and I said, well, she needs to have some foes. I said, who is a foe to bees? And he was like, bears. And I said, that's right. So we
Ooh.
started talking about, I said, well, what if we make it a negative family of bears? And so I thought about Be Positive will always kind of pop up when this negative family will have some negative thoughts. And, that would be my way of teaching children that, you can overcome these negative thoughts. And then we kind of came up with, what if one of the bears was positive? And I came
Mm-hmm.
up with the name Sunny. And I said, yes. And he was named by accident, and his name is Sunny. And we just kind of, kept going back and forth and back and forth. And then I started writing the stories. And it just came from there. And I spent really my entire summer working on the program, and
Oh
then
my.
in September we booked our first school, which was my old school that I had resigned from, quote unquote, to schools in two different cities in North Carolina. We were able to get two $5,000 grants, and so God has just been good over the year. We've gone into probably about 20, 25 different schools, and I've gotten to see children and even adults when they see me in the community. They're like, "You're being positive." I remember one little girl, I was at church. She came running up to me, and I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
wow.
I'm at your school." And so I said, "Are you being positive?" And she's like, "Yes, I am." And so that I think is one of the really great things. I was Kids were trick or treating in my neighborhood, and some came to my door and they remembered I was at their school, and so
Oh.
that was real. I was like, oh, now they know where I live. That was really nice, and so I just feel like we're going from one school to another, and that this
Mhm.
is more, I think it's a ministry and a calling that God has for me. My mother-in-law always says to me, Tasha says about me, Tasha's never met a stranger. And I
Mm,
do feel
mhm.
like that I connect easily with people. Even when I was a little kid, I used to get in trouble for talking to strangers because that's one of the first things you tell your kids. And I
Yeah,
remember
don't talk to strangers.
me and my mother and I were on the bus, and somebody just started talking to me. And I looked at my mother and I said, I promise you, I didn't say anything first. They just So, I mean, I think God has given me that gift to reach other people. It's not for me, it
Yeah.
is so that I could connect to other people and share the good news. You just show them as a light that I'm a light and that, you can have this same light that I have.
You said something in the beginning of how just transitioning from being a classroom teacher, you're still a teacher, but transitioning from the classroom to now be positive with Miss T, and how you worked on the plans over the summer. So right away, I was thinking that took perseverance to work on that through the summer. And then it also took faith. Share with us what that looked like.
Okay, so I really had to be in prayer about this because,
Yeah.
at my age, 55 at that time, just leaving your job and not having a stable income. And
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell anybody else that they should do that because when I tell you, even when I heard God say it to me, I was like, are you sure you're talking to me?
Right. Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Even when they came out with the new contracts at my school for the next year, I took the contract, and I
Hmm.
did, and I felt uneasy about it the whole time. And I kept saying, God, I need you to give me a sign that I wasn't just listening and hearing
Right.
things. Well, when
Right.
they came to collect the contract, my contract disappeared. I had no idea. And even to this day, I took down everything, all my teacher stuff. I gave everything away because God told
What?
me to do that as a show of
Yes.
faith. I didn't sell anything. I gave everything away. I could not find the contract. And they were saying, you don't know where that. I pinned it up on my board that was right in front of me. And when I say it disappeared, it disappeared. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew.
This is
I was like,
new.
yeah,
Yes.
that's when I knew. And it's unfortunate that I need a little sign. God forgive me for that. Where that just shows you we're human. And God knows that we are.
Yes.
And sometimes,
Yes.
how many times did he
Yes.
have to speak to all of these prophets that he sent out in the world over and over and
Hmm.
over and over and over and over again? Jonah had to even go in the belly of a whale. He's trying to run away from what God told him to do. Thank God
Right.
nothing like that extreme happened to me.
Right.
But but I knew, and the fact that my husband backed me and was like, "Okay, we're gonna do this."
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Let me just be honest. Was it 5 years ago? We finally, after 30 years of marriage, bought our first house when we
Hmm.
came back, and so that was scary. I was like, "Okay, I know I have to rely on you, and I have to
Right.
say." Everything's not perfect. I've gone partially into the classroom working, subbing, and my
Hmm.
school. I have to say they've been so wonderful in giving me opportunities to do things where, I'm making extra money right now. I'm subbing for the music teacher and I'm doing the
Yes.
graduation for kindergarten and fifth grade. And even when the music teacher comes back, they want me to stay to work on the graduation for kindergarten and fifth grade. And so I think because this is what he told me to do, he's going to supply
Hmm.
all my needs, and I'm still open to whatever he says. But I would say to
Yeah.
anybody, you have to listen and you have
Yeah.
to be. When I finally did step into doing Be Positive, I asked God, why did it take so long? Because at 4
Mm.
years old, I had a revelation that I was going to be working in entertainment. And I said, I waited so long, I feel like Sarah.
Yeah.
He said, you weren't waiting for me, I was waiting for
It's
you.
like that part.
And that
Yes.
was real powerful. And I knew that
Yes.
for a fact, even when he had told me to leave, and I didn't, still was
Right.
getting ready to sign that contract.
I
So,
can definitely relate to that. And,
mhm.
even with that being said, my question is, how does it feel now that you listen and now you're walking into what you believe God has called you to do?
I will tell you, I do not miss at all being a full time classroom teacher. I love when I say I do not miss it. It's so funny when the teachers come to pick their kids up from me and they come from meetings, they look like they have been through the fire.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
do not miss that. I don't miss that.
Hmm.
I do not miss the constant, I don't, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did miss working with kids like intimately because I do know that that's part of my calling. But one of the good things is as a sub, especially in the school that I worked in, all the kids know me. I get to work with them still and do something I
Yeah.
really love, singing music. I do musical theater with them.
Yeah.
And I actually got approached by by someone at my church to ask me to be over pretty much my prime group that I love to be over, that
Mm.
kindergarten to second grade.
Yeah.
And so I have instances in my life where I am directly pouring intimately into children. And
Hmm.
so that part fills my need to be able to do that. But as far as
Yeah.
being in the classroom all day, being teacher, working 12 hours a day, working on weekends, marking papers, no,
Yeah.
I do not miss that at all. And
Yeah.
am I feel free. I feel like I'm able to do what I want to do, and I don't
Yeah.
feel like I have somebody tying my hands, because a lot of times as a classroom teacher, that's what you have. You're not able to really do everything that you want to do because you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
listen to administration, you have to listen to the state, the district, or what have you.
Hmm.
And so I don't have that anymore, and it feels so freeing.
I love
Really.
that for you. And just you're able to walk in your purpose. You're able to live in your purpose. And that right there is a newfound freedom. I love it. I love that for you. I do want our listeners to know that this isn't your first rodeo. Be plus positive with Miss T is not your first rodeo. So, can you share with us how it all began?
Um, According to my mother, God rest her soul, my first time that I was able to get up and perform, I was probably 2 or 3 years old, and my grandparents' 25th wedding anniversary. Stood on the table and I sang Al Green, all the words. And my cousins and other family members attest to it. Do I remember it? No, not at all.
Right.
However, I think my one of my earliest memories, I remember going to a Broadway show with my paternal grandmother, my cousin, and my sister, they're older than me. They're
Hmm.
5 and 7 years older than me, and me crying because I wanted to
Oh,
be on the
wow.
stage. I did not want to be in the seats. And I kept saying, I can do that. I want to be up there. Like, I don't want to be over here watching. I want to be
Hmm.
over there being watched. And so at an early age, singing in church in the gospel choir,
Yeah.
I always was organizing talent shows with my peers once I got in middle school and high school and things like that. And
Hmm.
then, I, sometimes people dim the light in you, not because they're trying to hurt you. They think they're
Right.
doing it to try to help you. It was, well, it's one in a million that make it out there. You probably really should, like, focus on something. You're really smart, you do well in school. So I ended up going to high school, and going into a nursing program. And when I
Okay.
graduated, I went to college and I studied nursing. And my second year of college, I got pregnant.
Hmm.
with my son. And, that brought on a whole new thing being a single mom and trying to
Right.
go to school. And it took me about a good 6 or 7 years to finish school because sometimes I
Hmm.
would take one class, sometimes I would take two. But in the midst of that, I had taken a child psychology class, loved it, ended up changing my major to teaching. And I was
Okay.
like, well, I'm a mom now. Being a teacher is probably the safe thing.
Hmm.
You have the same holidays as your children, what have you,
Right,
you
right,
do all of
right.
those things.
Yeah.
But when we moved down to North Carolina, I had seen an all call audition to do a musical. What is the name of it? Little Shop of Horrors. And my
Okay.
husband and my kids were like, Mom, you should do it. By then
Right.
my kids were all in school and older and everything. Girl, we all packed in the car together, I went for the audition, and I'm seeing all these young girls, like they're in school, they're majoring in drama, they're majoring in vocal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm 40 something years old. I am in here. Well, guess what? I ended up getting the part. And then the
Girl,
rest
what?
I mean, yeah. So I'm in
Wow.
love with all of these young girls and all the rest of this stuff. And, when the local paper came, they wrote about me and everything, which I was like, oh my God,
Wow.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a wonderful thing. So my
Hmm.
family and I, the girls got the bug. And so we were in different productions and everything together.
Hmm.
Fast forward to going over to the UAE, we kind of had to give that up. So I
Yeah.
started writing monologues for myself as the premenopausal widow.
Uh-huh. I
And we
remember
started
that. I
our
remember
production
that.
company. Yes, we started our production company in the UAE. We
Yes.
entered quite a few um, uh, um, Abu Dhabi Short and Sweet Theater Festival
Hmm.
conferences, and we won. I
Yes.
won for best director, best overall play. We won for best production company, one for best actress, and we entered a few years. And every year we would bring home some accolades and awards. And
Yeah.
we also did quite a few children's productions while we were over there, large scale
Okay.
children's productions where there were 15, 20 different nationalities of children from the US, Canada, different countries in Africa, Australia, New Zealand, the
Yeah.
UK,
Yes.
Canada. I mean, just absolutely wonderful having that experience. And when I came home, it was during COVID. Nobody was
Yes.
doing anything. Um,
Yes.
COVID had died down about 2023. Went and auditioned, got into the cast of Color Purple, was able to do that, and quite a number of our friends from the UAE traveled from uh, Atlanta, South Carolina, Virginia,
Yeah. Yeah.
New York to come and see my opening night, and that was just awesome. The next
Yes.
year, we started Upstage Drama University, where we would go. We got a few grants with that. We were able to go into different
Yeah.
schools, recreation centers, boys and girls clubs, community centers, and do drama programs. And all of those programs were focused on SEL skills, and we would do
Yeah.
shows that had a lesson that I
Yes.
wanted children to
Yes.
learn: bravery, kindness,
Yeah.
standing up for yourself, courage, those things like
Hmm.
that. And so
Hmm.
after all of those things, then Be Positive came out of
Yeah.
it. And I just kind of look back from all of those things, I could see God's hand on me in every
Hmm.
single stage of my life. Even when I
Wow.
thought I was just by myself and all hope was lost at different
Yeah.
stages, I
Yeah.
really know that his hand was on my life.
Ooh, I got goosebumps, because here you were doing your thing in the US. You all moved to the UAE. So how did it feel in that transition? And then you still kept going. You just shifted what you were doing, and it's blossomed into something big.
That actually felt really good. I mean, a lot of times when you're starting something new, can be kind of scary. But
Yeah.
I think in a place in the UAE, we all were in the desert, and it was so many
Yes.
people that found their callings and found,
Yes.
different things, from Kim doing makeup to,
Yes.
PJ DJing, and Michelle doing
Poetry on the
poetry,
roof.
and I'm gonna get poetry on the roof,
Yes.
and just all of these things people. And I think because our work life balance with our family life was a little bit
Yes.
less stressful, we had more time to spend with our
Yes.
families. People were able to be a little bit more creative and more, thinking more
Yes.
out of the box. And
Yes.
that's kind of the thing that really happened with me. And I mean, I
Mhm.
can't say enough how having a spouse that is for you and supports you, and even your
Yeah.
children, a family that supports you, is a really big part of it. Because people look at me and they think
Yes.
I'm so, like, I don't let anything stand in my way. My grandmother used to say, but people don't see me in the middle of the night when I'm under those
Hmm.
covers, and tears are coming down
Yes.
and crying out to God, like, when is this going to change, or what have you.
Yeah.
I just know how to power through things. And
Yes.
that whole, remember when we were growing up, that commercial, never let them see you sweat. I think
Yes.
that's
I
always been my
remember.
mantra. In behind closed doors, I'm gonna act like an insane person, but come out in front of everybody, I'm gonna be like, action. you know.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Tasha, I just, even just thinking back to our time in the UAE, and like you said, the culture, the environment did really allow us more freedom to spend time with families, to be creative. And I
Yeah,
always say that experience is like none other.
none other.
I believe it truly was a time for us and for God to do whatever He needed to do through each and every one of us, so that we could connect to our calling. We could be awakened, in a sense, to what our calling was. And you said something in a previous conversation about we were in the desert, but we blossomed. Or do you
Mhm.
remember what you said that you
Yes,
can,
I
because
do.
that
I
resonated
do.
with me.
Yeah, yeah. Because you think of the desert, there's things that are dead, or, they go underground and they, hibernate or whatever. But it was so many of us that came there and literally bloomed and blossomed. And that's how you know it's God, because He's the only one that can do that. Yeah, He's the only one that can do that. And so I,
Yes.
I know for a fact, first of all, in order for you to even have enough courage and
Hmm.
gumption to be able to leave everything and go over there
Yes.
and not know what's going to happen, that
Yes.
takes a certain person to be able to do that. And not
Yes.
everybody can do that. You have people that don't even leave their, city or their neighborhood for the majority of their life.
Yes.
They might, just go to the beach or the shore, for their vacations every year, and they never really venture out of their small space. But
Yeah.
imagine us taking our entire families and going somewhere where we didn't know.
Yes.
I just knew that God had something different. Me and my husband, when we left New York, we said, we just gonna, wherever we go, we're gonna just keep going until it feels right. As long
Yeah.
as we have each
Man.
other, and we promised. We stayed for 2 years in the Maryland, D.C. area. That wasn't really right for us. Came to North Carolina. We absolutely loved it, but there became a time of stagnation, and we knew we wanted
Yes.
something different. And that's when we
Yes.
applied, as a teacher. It was just a freak conversation I had with my principal about a friend of his who was working for DOD, Department of Defense,
Yeah.
and that's how I ended up initially trying to go overseas, working with Department of Defense. And
Yeah.
even though I got everything was approved, we and had never gotten the position.
Referral. Yeah.
Yes, and
Mhm.
someone else told me about what
Was
was
it
the
teach
what
away?
Teacher Way. Yes.
Yes.
And I mean that was in September, and by December 31st, my family was on a plane going to the UAE. Even though I thought it was taking forever. That happened in September. That happened so fast. I was like, what is taking so long? What is taking so
No,
What
Tasha,
you
for
think?
me, I think I applied in March or April of 2011. I got a response in May. The
Wow.
interview, everything happened, and I left in August. So
Yeah.
just in a matter of a few months, and yeah, a lot of growth, the opportunities, the experiences with
The
that.
people, I mean,
Yes,
just the lifelong relationships and
lifelong
bonds that we
relationships.
made there was
Yes,
just, I don't think anybody, I've had friends, and you're in a different place now, and they have friends, but nobody has had the community that we
yes, that
had
we
there
had.
in the
Yes,
UAE. And just
yes,
I don't think that time, that moment in time, those 10 years or so, I don't think anybody will ever get that again. And the amount of support that we had for each other was just
yes,
astounding. The love and the support. Once you found your people, they just and we
yeah,
still,
always
I
there.
have different groups of different people,
Yeah,
friends, pockets of friends, and we still, I mean, we're going on what, about 15 years now that we're
yeah,
still friends and still connecting and still, loving each other and,
yeah,
edifying each other. And the relationships, especially that I have with women there,
yeah,
are just, I don't,
yeah.
yeah,
And you and Wayne opening your home up for us to come and sing, have some praise and
yeah,
worship.
worship,
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
gosh. I
Those
mean,
were those were awesome, and we often talk about that God he was able to even do that, and I
yeah,
mean, just so many different experiences.
yeah, yeah,
It just was absolutely wonderful. And
yeah,
somebody said to me, "Well, why did you come back?" We were becoming our son said he wanted to get married. We were becoming
yes,
grandparents. Some
yes,
things were, going on with my daughters where they needed their parents. My son was
yes,
here, but they needed support from us more,
yeah,
emotional support. And it was just
yeah,
time. And when
yeah,
your time is up and God
yeah.
says, and he had opened so many doors. And when I say
Hmm.
just within a week, we had gotten, our car, we both had jobs. I mean, and just, it was time,
Yeah,
when it's
everything
time,
fell into place.
everything fell into place.
We have stories for days. We could talk on and on about that experience, about life. This conversation has been rich. It has reminded us, and I hope the listeners as well, about faith, about resilience,
Mhm.
about purpose, about finding your purpose, and that no matter what season you are in your life, no matter your age, it is never too late because
Never.
our time is not God's time. But
That's
what
right.
is important is that you said it as well, we need to listen. We need to know when God is telling us to move, who you should move with. Um, when we do that, we can either move in God's timing or cause our own delay.
Yep.
Before we end, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be a guest on my podcast. This is a
Oh, yes, and
journey,
thank you so much
you
for
know?
even inviting me, extending the invitation. I
Yes,
really
thank you.
appreciate it, and I love what you're doing. I saw the other day you're going to be doing something with young ladies, and
Yes,
I just absolutely love it. I love that you're pouring
yes,
into other women, young girls, because we need that. We
yes,
definitely need that,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But before we go, if you could share one thing with young ladies today, one word or a sentence or a phrase of encouragement, what would you say?
Somebody asked me the other day, if I would change anything. Um, and I said no because it made me who I am. So,
Mm,
what I would love to say to young ladies is listen to that inner voice in you, not all the noise on the outside from your friends, from, peers, because, sometimes people are failing and they want to drag you
Yeah.
down with
Yeah.
them, and it
Yes.
might look like they're your friends, but if you see that every time that you're with somebody, something bad happens to you, that's
Hmm.
probably not the person you should be with.
Okay. Right.
But I told
Right.
the kids yesterday, I said when I was growing up, we used to have those little cartoons where there'll be an angel on one side and the little devil on the other. And the
Hmm.
angel will be telling you all the right things to do, and the devil will be telling you all the wrong things to do. Please try to listen to that voice that's telling you the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, that's when you are going to find the best version of yourself, the
I love
best
that.
for yourself.
I
You
love
keep
that.
listening to this one right here, it ain't gonna bring you nothing,
Mhm.
anything but down a dark road. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, thanks again for sharing. Before we go, could you please share with everyone where they can find you, your social media platforms, or in
Yes.
your local area? How can they reach out and contact you and have you as a guest at their school?
Okay. So, we are Be Positive with Miss T on Instagram. I'm B underscore positive underscore Miss T. And my Facebook is just my name, Tashia Dorsey, and you'll also see my Be Positive picture. TikTok is Tashia Dorsey 393. If you need to email me, it's tdorsey124 at gmail.com. We do community events, we do schools, and we also do personal parties and personal events. And I would love to come bring a little dazzle and sparkle to
Yes.
your events. And hopefully we'll be out there in the community. We're located here in Guilford County in the Triad, which is Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point. But we are willing to travel because, as you know, I'm a traveling woman.
Yes, you
We
are.
love
Yes,
to
you are.
travel. So even if you are overseas, we can work it out. Okay.
Yes.
So we're hoping that you find us on our platforms and just reach out if you have any questions or comments. We would love to hear from you.
I love it. Well, thanks again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Hey Girl Hey podcast live. I hope that you received some positive, uplifting, encouraging words from Be Positive with Miss T. And as you see, I told you all she had high energy, and that's what we need in our lives, right? So,
Just a little
again,
bit.
just a little bit. Yes, a little bit. And again, you can tune in to other Hey Girl, Hey podcast episodes on YouTube and Spotify as well. So again, thanks everyone. Tashia, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. And I
Love you
pray
too.
for unlimited success and prosperity for in everything that you do, girl.
Same here. Love what you're doing. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.